Hello everybody, and welcome to my channel, where today, on Minecraft, I haven't done any Minecraft videos in a while. It's just, I do them whenever. But today we're going to go over a new item in this recent snapshot called, currently it's 17W48A, but this was added a couple snapshots ago. And I just started playing with it a bit, and you can do some very interesting things with it. So we're going to go over what it can, most of the things it can change, and some interesting things that happen because of it. First off, let's start off with the basic. Uh, Blocks. You can change their orientation and everything. Not much really there. It doesn't have any other properties, but it's pretty interesting. This goes for mushroom stems as well, but it's pretty interesting. Not much you can do there, but if you want to quickly change rotation, you have this in your inventory. Just right click on it. You can also use bark if you so choose to, but it's all up to you. Next up, we have pistons. Oh boy, I love pistons. Don't you? Well, first off, you can say whether they're extended, where the primary block of the piston is extended or not, or if you left click with it, you can also rotate it as well. And this, you can create some very interesting things with it. For instance, if you go to extend it, you can still rotate it. However, if a block update is applied to this piston, it will retreat back to normal. Albeit, the extended piston head will always remain normal until a block update is applied to this as well. Unfortunately, I don't think pistons apply a block update to it for some reason. Don't know why. But here's the thing. This extended piston head also has properties of its own you can alter, like rotation, for example. This can create very interesting designs where, if done correctly, you can actually create some very interesting things. And this can also do many things as well. Like, yeah, I love this. I love what you can do with pistons with this stick. I created some very interesting things with it. Next up is torches. In particular, redstone torches I find to be very useful in this matter because you can just have floating redstone torches. Because you can rotate them. You may also change whether they are powered or not. Uh, but the problem is, immediately after you unpower them, they realize they must be powered and, well, power themselves again. So it becomes a little weird. Next up is redstone dust. Redstone dust, you can do some interesting things with it, especially if you are a redstoner. You can make it go up a block forcefully, though I don't know why you would want this. Or you can make it standalone. Here's what I'm talking about. You can actually have it separate from other pieces of redstone components. And it's very odd when you do this as well. And also, if you left click, you can sometimes change the orientation of which you tell it to alter things. So I can then just have it separate from these two lines. Oh, tricky. And have it all on its own. And then I can unpower it as well because one of the properties is powering it. And I can't quite see the properties thing because of the sand. Oh, you can also change the power level it's at. So I can go all the way up to 15 and then back down to 0. So yeah. Of course, this varies depending on um, what it's connected to. For instance, you won't have the full circle. You can just do this, and it will only work on these two. Yeah. It's very weird. Oh. Whoa. Okay. It didn't do that before. I think there's something wrong with this axis. Anyway, redstone's very weird with the debug stick, but it's still very interesting nonetheless. What the heck is wrong with you? Next up is hoppers. Hoppers are, they're mediocre. You can just alter them a little bit. You have to shift click on blocks that actually have a right click function. You may also left click. Oh, now it's powered, apparently, so you won't see anything, but yeah, very interesting. This, as well, you can also choose to be powered or not. It will not actually output a redstone. You weren't doing this before! Okay, so apparently it will output a redstone signal. That's, I swear it wasn't doing this earlier. Unless that was a bug. We're just going to ignore this for now. And we can also change the orientation as well. Next up is lamps. You may think lamps don't have any properties, but they only have one property, and that's if they're lit or not lit. And if you right click, even though there are no redstone blocks around it, it will stay lit. Which is weird because the redstone torches don't, but I mean, I like this. You can just have a standalone redstone lamp, no redstone whatsoever for creative world. It's very useful for builds. Um, Fences and walls. These are interesting. I showed you walls instead of fences because walls have one more property that fences do not. Albeit it's a very weird property, but it exists. They can actually separate from the blocks they are connected to. So, yeah, that's the one more property. We'll get to that. You can actually choose which sides extend out and which ones don't, because block IDs are no longer a thing. So, you can actually tell which ones separate, or if none separate at all, making little walls like this stand alone if we so choose to. You have to cycle through the values a bit to finally get it, but yeah, it's a little beautiful block. Now here's the thing, you can actually find the value to make these blocks non-existent. Like you can walk through it and everything because these values do have hitboxes. And you can actually create a value that has well, an invisible block that does not exist. It's basically an air block that you can't place blocks at. So if I try placing a block at this area, it will be blocked off because there is a fence block here, but that you can't see it. So the only way to actually do this is to get rid of this is to apply a block update, or to actually set the block air right here. So if I apply a block update by placing a block next to it, it realizes, hey, this should be here. However, it still doesn't connect to the others because the block IDs glitch out, which is interesting to say the least. Now, if I just cycle back to the value I was looking for, okay. Next up is you can actually, why I like these and why what you can do with them, you can actually make smooth corners. Notice how it always connects to the wall. Well, if we cycle through the values enough, we can actually make it a smooth corner. Now, albeit this is a bit buggy because the textures don't actually properly connect over here. It works better on other corners. For some reason, it's only these two axes that screw up, or ones that only apply to this axis. Like if I were to connect to another fence over here, for instance, and then just remove this value again, it looks a bit smoother. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of properties you can now change that are extremely useful with this debug stick, especially for things like lamps, walls, whatever. And also for stairs and slabs as well. What the heck? Let's just turn today. Go away. Next up we have slabs. You can now change it to the smooth slab, full slab thing, but there's practically no point because that's the same as the block anyway. And you can cycle through the values at which they are placed. Now, if you press left click, it doesn't do anything. It's not going to do anything. But with stairs, on the other hand, you can cycle through a whole lot of values. Being rotation. If I can find the other one. There we go. And what's this one? Straight. Ooh. Yeah, you can change corner values. This is very interesting. And then rotation again. So yeah, you can create a lot of very interesting things with this. Remember, left click to cycle through what type of value you want to change, and right click to cycle that exact value. Might be a little bit difficult for some people to remember, but it's very interesting, to say the least. So next up, what do we have? We have fence gates. Now, along with just right clicking and opening, you can actually change the rotation. You guys know that already. Next up, we have, let's see what we got. Powered, if it's on or off. Unfortunately, it doesn't actually open from that, but yeah. Then you got the open value, and then we have the in wall. Now, you may realize that it looks a bit weird. That's because this is actually testing. This is actually the different fence gate texture you see when there is a wall surrounding a fence gate. So, uh, yeah, it won't connect to blocks like normal, and it's very weird. Yeah, I'm gonna show you an example. Look. Yeah. Pipe block update. And then I think it was fences that it has to alter. Yeah, fences. Hang on. Oop. Actually, I don't remember. Like it was in wall something, but I don't remember where I saw it. Unless they actually changed it. Maybe that's a secret one. I don't know. I don't remember where I see it before. Next up is furnaces. You can actually change whether they are lit, even though they have nothing in them, making even more creative possibilities that you don't have to have constant fuel in the furnaces for creative maps. Even better. Also, you can of course change the rotation as well, especially when it's lit, and then you can also change it back. Very cool. As well as we also have rails. You need to go, sir. Can I just get my whacking stick real quick? Actually, no, I'll get my insta-kill stick. Whoop! Get out of here. Where was it? Oh, yes. Railroads. And power rails as well. The They all act differently. There are different rails, but they have two core properties. Whether they're powered and what their rotation is. But the rotation one is fun because you can play with the angles just by cycling all the values. Of course, this is the powered rail, so it doesn't have any corner properties, but this one does. So yeah, it doesn't have any secondary values, secondary states, so you just cycle through the rotation, which could be a bit useful to people that have trouble with the railroads and which way they are oriented, instead of having to place rails in a certain direction, blah blah blah. This stick is very useful for map builders, like extremely useful, and I love it. Next up, we have the redstone components. These are pretty much all act the same. Like you have whether it's day or night. I'm shift clicking, mind you. And then you also have the power at outputs. You see the power changing? Well, it'd probably be a little bit more apparent if I had redstone over here. There we go. And I'm shift clicking, and notice how it's not changing the value, but apparently there has to be a block update for the redstone. Weird. Um, yeah, it just changes the how much power it outputs. Same goes for repeaters, and you can also change whether they are locked or not. If you guys don't know, repeaters have a locked state, which basically locks their output at either constantly powered or constantly not powered. And then you also have, of course, the which way it's facing, and then their delay. Then you should have their powered, how much they're. Oh, oh yeah, repeaters don't have the how much powered because they're full output. And then you also have comparators. Oh boy. Subtract mode. Yeah, they don't have the how much output, though they probably should. And then you also have doors. I love doors. I love doors because they're two blocks if that makes any sense, have a weird way of breaking with the debug stick. You can actually alter their rotation, and if they're open, and then alter the rotation when they're already rotated, and then whether they're powered or not. And then you can also do stuff like this. Yeah. You can play around with this. It's very fun. I actually like doing this. It's really fun and weird. And then you also have buttons. They act the same way as torches to a degree. You can change whether they're powered or not. And then you can also squishy button. Then you can also change whether they're attached to the block or not. You can actually break this block and it will stay in midair, but we'll get to that in a second. Next up we have ladders. You can also change the orientation. They have no other properties. Though, if you try climbing on the back of this, it doesn't work. You actually can't climb on the back of it. Though you can climb up the front of it once you change the orientation. And then if you break the block, they will remain floating. I love it. Next up, we have crops. With the debug stick, you can alter the age of crops however you like, whether they're max or not. Now, with cactuses and other blocks such as sugar canes, it's very odd. Also, this isn't a proper crop, so you can't actually change its properties. It's very odd because I don't see any major differences, and I don't know if they grow faster, and I don't have time to wait just to see if they do grow faster because I use the debug stick. Oh, block update. Yeah. Uh, yeah, next up we have chess. I love chess. First up, you can... They don't have any secondary properties. Oh, you can change whether they're a single. Okay, never mind, I take that back. I don't know what I just did. Oh. Hold on. Okay, so apparently the left chest of a double chest state is non-textured. That could be. I'm gonna get to that in a second. I realized I found out what it was earlier, but I didn't know it was actually a state value. You can actually alter the rotation, which is very good. Though trap chest is not a type of chest value, so you kind of have to get the other block for it. So yeah, very cool. And you can also kind of break double chests a bit. Uh, I find it very funny personally. So you kind of have a ghost block right here. And then you can also change the rotational value. So of course this is the right block, so it won't work, so I have to work on the left block. Remember, these are all ghost blocks that you're seeing right here. The real block is still here. It's just non-existent because, yeah. And if I go to this value, they both become invisible. So you have an invisible double chest that still fully works. And if I go back, oh, there we go. Ta-da. Oop. Well, it's not a double chest per se, but you have two chests side by side that are invisible that still work. It's very odd, but it's still fun to play with because, again, you could maybe have like a secret corner and tell them that there's a secret chest within a room and have them right-click everywhere until they actually find the secret chest. And because these blocks also have rotational values, you can rotate them as well. They don't have any other values other than rotational values, so at least it'll be easier for people to actually like not bend their heads trying to figure out which rotation that a block is in. Very useful. Cauldrons and brewing stands. I seem to have misplaced my cauldron. I might want to get my cauldron. How do you spell cauldron again? There we go. Cauldrons and brewing stands. You can now change if a brewing stand is holding a particular bottle or not. So I can like leave this bottle, go to this bottle, and stuff like that. So you don't actually have to have bottles in there. which I find pretty cool. Again, for creative purposes, in case you guys didn't actually want to place a bottle in there, though some might actually find it easier just to place something in there. Next up, we have cauldrons. You can actually change the value of what water they are holding. So like level 1, level 2, level 3. Now they don't have any rotational value, so you're just kind of stuck here with that value, but still pretty fun. Next up, heads and banners can also be rotated with the stick. They don't have any other values other than rotational values, so you kind of get left with what you got. And last but not least, flowers. I placed this flower all the way over here. I could have placed it back. You can actually change, like, tall grass and flowers, they're completely screwed up with debug sticks. You can actually change whether they're the top or the bottom half of the block. Like, this is the top half of the block when this is the bottom half, and if I change it back to normal, it looks alright. It's very weird. Some blocks have values and some don't. Next, and oh, also I forgot about this. You can also change grass to have the snowy value to true or false. This does not affect entities, but only blocks because they have removed block IDs. So don't try right-clicking skeletons with the debug stick. Yeah. If you guys are wondering how you get the debug stick, you do /give username debug stick, and it will be put in your inventory, and it looks like a normal stick, but it has debug stick as the name, and it's useful. Only for creative users with cheats, or just people with cheats to begin with. Hello. And I just... Okay, apparently I can't set time today anymore. This looks weird. Can I actually use this in my left hand? I can! Even better for creative users. I think. Ooh, apparently it does work that way. Well, guys, if you did enjoy this video on the debug stick and you want to see some more, please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe as well if you want to see more Minecraft tutorials. Don't forget, I don't normally play Minecraft 24/7. I play other games. Leave a recommendation of what game you'd like to see me play down the description, down in the comments below, and I will see all you dudes later. Bye bye.